morning. It's fucking almost breakfast time.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Sly Fox Sports podcast. And this is the Week 10 college football review. And we're doing it right now because it's so fresh and it's so fire that it was so amazing. Game of the year, would you say, Mr. Nix?
I haven't got much to fucking level it up against, have I? You're asking the wrong person. This was the first weekend that I dedicated my time to properly watching this sport, and I hope within a few weeks you will realise just how intelligent I am because I will run Jeremy Miller off of this show. Of course it was Game of the Year. Of course it fucking was. Let me get my extensive... This gives you an idea of how thorough I get when it comes to American football. I don't know how much of this you'll see. You probably won't see it at all, actually. So basically, I've got a phone right here with a shit ton of notes, which for some reason apparently is invisible to man. But yeah, crazy. Absolutely crazy.
Yeah.
Number one ranked Clemson goes down at the South Bend to Notre Dame in double overtime. Overtime. Yeah, killer game. Absolutely killer. A real battle of attrition. There were points in this game where I thought, the Flying Irish aren't going to get this done. There were a lot of points in the game where they couldn't convert in the end zone. Their red zone efficiency was not very good in this game.
No.
I worried about Book, but as the game went on, he steeled himself more. I started to say, I think his dad, by the way, is a fucking ledge. Oh, big
Yes,
Dave.
his dad is fucking amazing.
He could fucking be his offensive lineman. Fucking disgraceful. If he gets in the NFL.
I watched the second half. I didn't catch the first half, but if I heard correctly, Tirico said he was a musician.
No, he is a bodyguard for the world's biggest musicians, Rihanna, and loads of famous people. And not surprisingly, he's about 6'8".
No, definitely not.
Yeah.
DJ's dad, the big, huge Samoan guy, he's a bodyguard. Could you tell?
No way.
Because ultimately, if you're gonna tell somebody about that, you're gonna tell them during recording, obviously. Jeremy Miller is professionalism. That would work really well in broadcast. Imagine sports broadcasting on ESPN. Hi, honey. Yeah, I just got this really cool fact live on air. Fucking state of it, mate.
This is not extra.
Hey, Lord.
All right, so I pulled up stats. Both teams had 22 first downs in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Notre Dame ended up with 519 total yards. Clemson had 473.
You can tell Jeremy didn't watch it properly, can't you?
Fuck off.
Because he ain't talking about the big plays. He ain't talking about the big players. He ain't talking about the fact that so many people in this game came
I will say this. I will call this one out, okay? That pass interference that got thrown and then picked up because Dabo Swinney wanted to do this and get into the referee's face, bullshit. That should have been a pass interference. He was
it was, but luckily it doesn't really matter at this point.
Right, it doesn't matter.
You don't have to worry about it now. Shut up, I'm talking. Ultimately, when it comes down to it, that pass interference luckily doesn't need to be a flashpoint now because there was a very good chance. You could see the outrage, of course. I was outraged. He's gone right through the back of the guy. Clearly pass interference. Dabo Swinney interferes, essentially. He intimidates the referee, and he makes him pick up the flag. Luckily for us, it doesn't really matter. And I'm not going to sit here and slag off Dabo Swinney because, his methods are proof. And this is a team that has not lost a regular season game until now for 3 years. Okay? They are, along with Alabama, the premier dynasty of college football right now. That's evident to see whether you've been watching for a week or for a fucking millennium. It's very obvious. Notre Dame, of course, very famous in themselves. Obviously, they knocked off. Last time the number one seed came to town was the Florida Gators many moons ago, and they knocked them off too. They've got a habit of doing that, of running aloft with the number one seeds and causing a lot of hassle. It's a very intimidating place to go. You think how hostile as well the crowd was, and it was only about a third capacity, if that. Big pitch invasion at the end. I'm sure all the fucking uber liberals are going to be upset about that. Where's my social distancing for?
I was going to say, that's definitely more than a group of 10.
Absolutely. I have all of those people are in one single bubble called Guinness. They're all smashed off their titties right now, and they deserve to be. It was a killer game, honestly. I mean,
Yeah.
like the first the first play is like a 65-yard touchdown from Williams. It's like, bye.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Kyron
Like,
Williams.
Jesus, I didn't even have a chance to sit down with my cup of tea, and he'd already scored. I was like, fuck's sake, at least let me boil the kettle first, mate.
Yeah, Kyron Williams went off tonight.
Yeah, he did. He was probably, a lot of people would argue, was probably the star. But I actually think a lot of people aren't going to talk enough about Ian Book and his ability to be clutch. Let's not forget, he didn't get sacked a single time, at least in regular time. I don't recall him getting sacked in overtime either, and if he did, it was probably a garbage possession. But his offensive line did really
Oh, yeah.
well. They gave him enough time. And even when they didn't give him enough time, he then proved he had the legs. He could roll out well. Didn't necessarily have the pace, but what's good about it, a high IQ quarterback, he was able to find. And it's a real shame because when he had that fumble right at the goal line and gave the ball back to Clemson, I thought, oh, Jesus Christ, that's going to be it for him. Any quarterback who's worth his salt could have been forgiven for losing their head a little bit after a big play like that. You've got yourself down into the red zone. You're 10 yards in. He's kind of evading the last tackle as the guy's hooked his leg and he fumbles the ball into the end zone. Clemson recovers, and you think, that's that right there. I was sitting there thinking, that's what I'm going to be speaking about most when it comes to this podcast. And ultimately, I'm not, because of the fact that Ian Book did something a lot of quarterbacks, especially at this young age, could not do and wouldn't be expected to. And that is to be able to overcome that. You're against the number one seed. Whether people want to believe Clemson are outright the best team or not, doesn't matter. They're the number one seed. They're in your gaff. They're coming at you. They're smelling blood. They're fucking blitzing. It was ridiculous. Blitzed him. It felt like every down almost.
If there's a college coach that's not a head coach that I respect as much as like Nick Saban and Dabo Swinney, it's Will Venables, the defensive coordinator for Clemson. This guy can take kids that are true freshmen and make them look like they're NFL prospects.
Yeah.
His defense is lights out. And his son is on this team, and he looked lights out. I would not be surprised.
Not lights out enough.
Yeah. I would not be surprised if Will Venables gets a head coaching job next year.
Wouldn't surprise me. Would not surprise me. He has done a wonderful job. That's clear to see. The pace of their rushing defense was phenomenal. However, that being said, they couldn't get a sack. They couldn't get him because he was just too good. He was too clutch. He was too high IQ. A lot of that as well is down to that incredible collection of tight ends that Notre Dame have. None more so than baby Gronk Meyer, who, he's got the same number as Gronk, the same body consistency. He even plays the same style. He's playing. That's what they call him. That's his nickname. Should be paying attention, boy. If you were watching the full game like I wasn't taking notes, you would know this.
If any of their tight ends are big, it's Tommy Tremble.
He might be big, but at the end of the day, it's Meyer who made the plays in this game.
Tremble did too.
Yeah, he made some plays, but let's be honest, mate. If you watch the game, you'll have noticed. I'm pretty sure anyone who watched it will tell you Meyer was the crucial tight end in this game. Some of the plays he made, collecting first downs on very tight third down calls. It just, and not only that, he was putting up an astonishing amount of blocking. Their running touchdown, for instance, in overtime was down to his blocking on the left side. He made lanes for his running game, and that's what I fucking love about him, because we forget, because of what Gronkowski has done, that actually blocking tight ends, and Kittle is probably the finest example of this in the NFL, blocking tight ends are still actually at a premium. Not every tight end knows how to throw a block and knows how to fucking create lanes for a running game. Kittle and Gronkowski are literally the most elite at it, but even Gronkowski doesn't create that many lanes. He's just a very good general blocker. I'd say Kittle is the only guy who really does it regularly. This Meyer guy, I think, has got a really bright future. I like the look of him. And what I liked about him as well was he was all sizzle and all steak as well. He didn't mind getting dirty. He didn't mind getting gritty. And that was what it came down to for me. It's just literally there's a hair between the two teams in this game. They can play each other 10 times. They'll probably tie most of them. Or, one will win 5, one will win the other 5. It is such a dynamic right down the middle between these two teams. But when it came down to it, Notre Dame were just ever so slightly more clutch when it mattered most. Hi, Jules. Yeah. And he wonders why he doesn't get any views on YouTube.
That should have got it. She's. If
you get your Norks out, love.
Trust me, she
get the Bazongas out. I'll tell you, that'll get some views. Some gigantical titties.
Okay, your gigantic titties need to leave.
Yeah, baby.
We'll be cutting this out.
Come on. You fucking think we're cutting it out, but we're not. Let me see them delicious tits. Anyway, so yeah. Good game. Very good game.
Yeah.
So,
I also want to touch
fantastic book, fantastic. And to be fair, nobody's going to talk about the fact that Clemson's players are great. By the way, DJ Ula La 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 he Lua Lua Trumano Lueza Lua Lua Lagos Nigeria, everything else in between, and Samoa into boot. He's fantastic. By the way, he looks like a real man. I've got to say, I know everyone's talking about Trevor Lawrence, right? Cut your fucking hair, mate. You look like a reject from Hanson. Unacceptable. Not having that. You look a state, honestly. He looks like Edge if he was 10 years old. Not having that. Not having that. He doesn't look like a proper man. Seriously. You belong in the Jets because, frankly, that haircut is third rate at best. Stop trying to block at him. Just tell her to go away.
I am.
When we're talking about Ohio,
she is nude.
She can have a word.
She is nude.
She's what?
She was nude.
She was new?
Yes.
She was nude. Oh, marvellous. Well, we didn't see it, unfortunately.
Exactly. That is not
unfortunately
the podcast.
The ironic thing being that you actually get a suspension for that if you do allow Mrs. Tits, to be honest. So you just have to suffer with my bazongas, ladies and gentlemen, and even these are fucking packed up, mate. Great game. Great game. Just an incredible game to watch. Anyone who knows anything about football, you don't have to be a huge college football fan. I watched this from start to finish. It was engrossing. It was electrifying in so many ways. And overtime, I think, was quite fitting for the battle of attrition.
Yes,
and it ends up with scenes in South Bend. Very, very impressive stuff.
There's actually a few things I want to talk about. The one is not only was Kyron Williams great at running, but some of the blocks that he placed to help Ian Book, fantastic.
Yeah, he used his height as well to his advantage. Instead of thinking, I'm small, shit, he thought, well, I'm small, so I need to get my base down low. And there was quite a few times where he cut guys off at the knees. They were coming in, the blitz, and he was like, and I guarantee they would have got 3 or 4 sacks if it hadn't been for the fact that he'd gone quite low and almost decapitated a few guys and stopped him, because there were a lot of times where these guys went flying into him and he just took the hit. He just, he took
He's a good, strong kid.
He is. He won't be able to get away with doing that every week in the NFL, though. Fuck me.
He's only a sophomore, so he's still got 2 years to learn.
Yes. Yeah. I like it. I think it's good, and in crucial games, it's very important. Don't want to see you doing it every game, though, because that's just asking for trouble long term when it comes to things like concussions and collisions and everything else. But this was a lovely, big physical game. At times, I didn't feel because I watched the Friday night games, and there was very much an evidence of these guys are smaller. These guys are younger. They haven't fully, evolved into the monstrous athletes they'll be in the NFL. Whereas in this game, there are a lot of times where I just thought, he could probably play this Sunday. No problem. Stick him in as well. The pace, the power, the tight ends for Notre Dame, the running game that they had. It was a case of seeing just 2 teams full of elite things. There's only one criticism over this game, and I thought the officiating was fucking appalling at times. It was atrocious. Not just the pass interference call. They missed about 3 or 4 different face masks. Loads of holding penalties that just went awry. Then they could, sometimes at one point, I felt like Notre Dame was being scrutinised a bit too much because they were getting picked up on holding calls, and then Clemson were doing exactly the same hold. Nothing to be said. The pass interference call, but it picked flag up. There was actually a very similar offence to that earlier in the game that was called on Notre Dame, I think in the second quarter. And, they were very quick to be like, whoa, what do you think you're doing throwing the flag? On this one, they were like, I'm not upset, Dabo. Who just picked that up, put it in my pocket? Sorry, Dabo. Sorry, please don't hurt me.
Right.
He's not even a fucking intimidating prospect. He swears a lot. I mean, if there was a swear jar for this game, then Dabo Sweeney would probably end up opening his own charity by the end of this, because every time they cut to him on the touchline, he's like, you motherfucker, fucking shitbag, fuck. I was like, calm down. When
they had to check out the touchdown 2 or 3 different times, first they said it stands. Then they overturned it. Then they checked it again and said it was still.
When he threw his headset, and he's just like, "Fuck you, I'm done." And it was just like, I understand it, but at the same, in that position, I didn't mind too much because I want you to fucking get it right, and they ultimately got it right. So I don't care in that respect. Like the least of their offences was slowing down the game. For me, it was the amount of calls that were blatantly missed. And it's not like, oh, well, we haven't got any videos or anything like the NFL. I mean, you've got exactly the same technology at your disposal.
Hell, I think they even have a couple other cameras that aren't in the NFL.
I'll tell you one thing I do appreciate, the overtime rules. I wasn't aware of the overtime rules. So the first overtime play, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing on the 25-yard line, you cheat? Get back, fucking get your ass back up the field. And so I thought, I'll have a quick look. And just kind of like almost like they're veering towards a penalty shootout style. They've definitely incorporated something with the sport. The problem was the referees made it so slow that it didn't actually become the gripping, fast-paced overtime you wanted. They were thinking, oh, well, if we just give them, first down, 25 yards high, it'd be electric. It'll be like penalties. They'll be straight in the end zone, which is what Clemson did. Boom, just like that on their first possession. However, when it comes down to it, if the referees take 15 minutes to fucking review every play, all of a sudden fans are like, Jesus fucking Christ, get on with it. And that's what I was doing. I was like, oh, this is so good. I was like, 10 minutes. Oh my God, it's fucking 10 minutes. It's like, fucking, just fucking see it here, dickhead. You must have a TV screen. Get on with it. Referees were atrocious. Other than that, game was amazing. Absolutely. No one had a shit game for me. Fantastic. To be honest, if I'm Clemson, I'm sitting there thinking, God, blimey. I mean, by the way, Trevor Lawrence, right? COVID-19, am I correct?
Yeah, I know.
What the fuck is he doing? Running around sticking his finger up every fucking offensive lineman's bumhole then. He's like, oh, great game, lads, great game. Don't slap me with your COVID hands. Get away from me,
And he had a mask on, like, dude, if you have it, what the fuck are you doing here?
I don't understand, why, if he's got COVID, he shouldn't be there.
Exactly.
Or he should be in a plexiglass box.
Well, they said that he wasn't, having any symptoms, but he was positive for COVID. So even though he could be asymptomatic, that means he could, it means that he could still spread it. So what the fuck is he doing on a national broadcast? It makes no sense,
idea.
And I guarantee
you. Although by the end of the game, like with the scenes that we saw with the fans and that, probably people are going to forget about that quite quickly. And
I think the ACC are going to hit Clemson and Notre Dame big time.
I don't think they give a shit, to be honest. I really don't. I don't think they care.
The other two
Big
things
pocket change for a lot of them.
That's true. The other two things I want to talk about: DJ Uiagalelei, 29 and 44, 434 yards and 2 touchdowns. Yeah. Clemson's good for the next 4 fucking years once Lawrence leaves because DJ is going to take this team and he's going to run with them. I would not be surprised if we see Clemson in the national championship or at least in the college football playoff for the next 4 years. Maybe 3, because if DJ's smart, he'll get out as a junior because he's got the talent.
Power as well. A
lot of power fuck too. Yeah. The other thing.
A lot of quarterbacks I saw this weekend that were quite good talents, but quite lightweight. And this lad was a big unit, man. That classic Samoan DNA. By the way, can we not put Trevor Lawrence in one of them boxes like Michael Cole had in the commentary position?
Oh, that would be fucking great.
That would be amazing. Just him slapping on a plexiglass. Let me out, guys. Shut up. Until you can sing Mbop properly, you're not allowed outside of your box. Shut your mouth.
The other thing I want to talk about is the fact that Notre Dame held the ACC and the NCAA single season, rushing king, Trevor Etienne, from 18 carries for 28 yards. 28 yards. That's insane. That's Notre Dame's solid defense in a nutshell.
They have the best pass rush in college football. That's something I've been hearing a lot of noise about. Guys who, I watch the college game day stuff, the build up to it, they were talking about if there's one thing Notre Dame have to use and use to their advantage is their pass rush.
Did they get it? Especially in that second overtime.
He's probably the one player, actually, I wasn't massively impressed with was what's his name, Etienne or however you pronounce it. In France, it's Etienne. Thank you very much. But ultimately, I wasn't huge. I didn't think he had a bad game by any means. He just didn't have a very effective game. Somebody's got to have an ineffective game like this. But when you look at it, I mean, the point spread doesn't technically count, does it, after full time? They don't.
I'm not sure.
In betting, they cease betting at the final whistle. So anything in overtime doesn't count towards the point spread.
Over-under, it does count for the over-under.
It doesn't over here, not in English betting.
Really? That's messed up.
So, which is really frustrating, particularly if you're betting on knockout games with extra time and overtime. For instance, if you put a bet on, I don't know, Lewandowski to score in the game and he only scores in extra time, doesn't count. Only counts up to 90 minutes. None and void.
Wow.
Yeah, they're very strict about that. It's a good way of making extra money. The cheeky cunts as well.
Right. Cornell Powell for Clemson. 6 receptions, 161 yards, and a touchdown.
161 yards from 6 receptions.
Yeah.
It's just like he was playing Madden. He's taking a piss.
And the thing is, this is his first chance after getting, passed up for T. Higgins and the bigger.
None for you, Higgins.
Right. These guys were their first-round draft picks, and now it's his chance, and he's balling out. He is balling out, and he is a senior, so he'll be gone next year.
Yeah. There were so many flashpoints in this game, and every time there was one, I wrote it down, because I thought, that might be the most important talking point. But this game just wouldn't let up. It just would not let up. And eventually, I had so many flashpoints down here, written down, player lays out. Great tight end play by Meyer, for instance. There was a fumble in the end zone. I thought that was going to be it. Just so many different things. Olagalele gets it to Amari Rogers was somebody who really stood out to me in this game.
Yes.
I thought he was a monster.
That's another
there was a point when they were third down, quite deep into the fourth quarter. Third down, passes it off to him. He's still got about 5 or 6 yards to make up to get a first down. He makes one of the players miss before cutting inside and making the first down. You think, if you don't make that, Notre Dame's got the ball, got a good opportunity to almost ice the game at that point because it was just so tight. And throughout it, people were saying, especially on social media, Notre Dame keep getting in the end zone, but only getting field goals. They're not getting enough touchdowns. The funny thing is, if both teams converted with the lethality that they're expected to do in the red zone, this would have been 87 points apiece. Because the amount of times they opted for a field goal over a touchdown actually was quite extreme, especially on Notre Dame's standpoint. And I honestly sat there and thought, this is what's going to keep Clemson going. This is what's going to bring Clemson through at the end. I sat there and I just thought, Clemson are going to pinch it because they're going to have just slightly more red zone efficiency when it comes down to it. And ultimately, Notre Dame actually became clutch. And a lot of that is down to the fact that Book, his mentality, his never say die attitude right at the end, particularly in overtime, was spectacular. All of a sudden, where other guys were cramping up and picking injuries, he started running out of pocket more. He found more pace, more second wind, more effort, more energy. He's going to be a really good kid to look at. If he can maintain that kind of product and advance on his body and his level of pace, his skill, his athleticism, he comes into the NFL, all of a sudden you're thinking, here's a guy, because he can actually throw the ball. It's not just a running spectacular. He's, predominantly a throwing guy. So I really like Book. He was probably my star for this game.
I'll go out on a limb and say Ian Book's a senior, so of course he's going to be going in the draft. There are a lot of teams looking for a quarterback.
He could end up getting picked up by a very good franchise as well.
I think he's going to get. I think he'll get picked up by the Patriots.
Wouldn't surprise me. They're very good at dealing in the draft, getting themselves higher up, and obviously they're going to have a high pick anyway this year because they're pretty dreadful. But that being said, if Trevor Lawrence declares, which he's probably going to, I've also found it very amusing that whenever he was shown on the big screen, all the Notre Dame fans were going, JETSSS. I just trolling the poor little, and he's like, shut up. It's just really funny.
Because
really
he does not want to be a Jet. He already said
Book's the kind of guy I reckon will be overlooked slightly and he'll end up going lower in the first round, if in the first round at all, because I know what NFL teams are like, and there's going to be a lot of teams looking for offensive line pieces and things of that nature, a premium franchise running back and stuff like that. A lot of teams need offensive pieces more than they do quarterbacks because there's a lot of good quarterbacks flying around in free agency.
And there'll be a lot of wideouts in this draft as well.
So good game, though. Good game,
lads. Fantastic game. And
one of the all-time greats. I picked a hell of a weekend to start watching properly.
Yes, that was a great game. So we'll talk about Saturday. Let's see. The first game on the docket is the Michigan Wolverines getting defeated by the Indiana Hoosiers for the first time since
I fucking told you, didn't I?
1987.
Told you, eh? What did I tell you, eh? I told you them Hoosiers, they're going to fucking go in there. They're going to give that Michigan a bloody good walloping, eh? They're going to really upset that Jim Harbaugh, eh?
I didn't watch this game, but I listened to it on radio. And
the way about 10 minutes of highlights.
And the way that they were discussing this game, there were so many blown calls. The referees sucked. Absolutely sucked in this game. There were so many blown calls, so many bad.
That was kind of the weekend sort of premise, mate.
Yeah.
Expect to hear more about that on first take.
But Indiana, they're 3-0. They're 3-0 for the first time in many years.
I don't think they will be by the end of it.
Tom Allen, their coach, is 21-20 in his 4 years as a coach. He is
almost 500.
He's over 500.
Or one.
Either way, it's the first time.
That's no offense, mate, but 21-20 is not blowing me away. I'm not that impressed. And if you go back and watch the highlights of this game, they're not going to end up undefeated. They're not going to get into a serious position. Right? They're not. They're not.
Michael Penix did pretty freaking good for himself.
I'll tell you what, from all the teams I watched this weekend, there are a good 6 or 7 teams at least that I reckon will give him a fucking good thumbing.
Oh, yeah. Notre Dame would give him a good one.
Notre Dame wouldn't even be close, mate. It'd be like watching Deliverance, mate. Ugly. Interesting game for you to pick with some of the other big results flying around.
I start small and I work my way down. Start
small and work your way down. Fair enough.
Yeah.
That's the American way, ladies and gentlemen.
Fuck off.
I start small and then I just get worse.
SMU.
You want to hit the fans with the big games, mate. We spoke about Notre Dame. You want to hit them with the big ones. People didn't come here to listen about Indiana and the Hoosiers here.
Okay,
I came here listening for some of them Hoosiers, Chetty. Just popped down for the old double-double down at Tim Hortons. And then when I'm done there, I can't wait to get back and watch Sly Fox Broadcasting to make sure they talk about them Hoosiers, eh? They're a really good team, they are. You know, they might be American, but they're Hoosiers. And you know how we hate all them fucking Hoosiers, eh?
How about we talk about SMU and their 47-23 win when they looked like they were going to be losing?
Yeah, and I picked the Owls, and you were like and I remember I watched it back, and I watched the preview, and you were like, the Owls. Oh, I scoff at your predictions, sir. Oh, the Owls. But you were like, the Owls are going to get fucking fun. They're going to get euthanized like proper Owls. And I was like talking about, fucking the Owl who's afraid of the dark and shit. And then I looked at it. I was watching this. I had this on because rather coolly over here. I don't know. It's probably goes over there as well. Loads of the games are on live on YouTube. Where a lot of people were streaming them illegally.
Oh, nice.
And so I had like about 4 or 5 YouTube windows open just so I could keep an eye on things. And I zoned in on this one because I thought I'm going to support the Owls. And I just couldn't, I was watching, I was like, they're going to win. They're going to win. I was so keen on it. And they ran them ragged. Yeah.
They did.
Let's give them another death penalty, mate.
Yeah, but SMU pulled it out.
Congratulations. You pulled it out against the Owls.
Yeah.
So don't try and hide from the audience the fact that you were slagging them off. Like, he was proper in scoff mode, ladies and gentlemen. The Owls, what a terrible pick that is. And
they're 1-4 now.
Almost done them, mate.
They almost done them. The only big name, like Shane Buechele, 24-35, 355, and 4 touchdowns. That's pretty good. But,
yes, for sure.
Ulysses Bennett IV, he had a big game last week. He only had 17 carries for 79 yards.
Yeah, he did better than the other 4th.
Jesus. But, yeah, SMU.
Turns out the mailman doesn't always deliver.
Oh, God.
Sorry, mate. Sorry.
Well, fuck it.
Yeah.
Florida and Georgia, the world's largest cocktail party, baby.
Time to get back to my fucking notes because for some reason I watched this in its entirety, and at the end of the first half I was like, oh my god, this is so fucking good, so many points. And then literally in the second half both teams were like, can't be arsed now. Kind of slowed right down after that. I was like, what do you think you're doing? Yes, indeed, the 8th ranked Florida Gators taking on the 5th ranked Georgia Bulldogs, 3-1 versus 4-1 records. And the Georgia Bulldogs did not look like the favourites in this game. This was another game. There were so many games I watched, right, this weekend, where the first play, they just, for some reason, everyone was going for the quick, sharp jab, to hit him early. Magnificent running touchdown. Stetson Bennett, the fourth. I was getting all excited. Well, here he goes. Here comes the mailman. The postman, he's my kindred spirit. He's going to deliver a fucking signed and delivered package. That's what he's going to do. And then he got injured and and then just had to kind of, mill around. Looks like he had a collarbone injury of some sort, or a neck injury. A lot. And the guy who came in for him, Mathis, I think it was.
Yeah, Dwan Mathis.
Fucking awful. Okay, I thought that they had somehow managed to find themselves a coloured Drew Lock for the evening. Not good. This guy, not good. He couldn't throw. Could not throw to save his life. Oh my God! It's like watching, ironically enough, with the Florida Gators on the field, it was like watching Tebow. It's just like he could run just fine. Couldn't throw the ball, and that hurt a tremendous amount. But the problem with this game simply came down to the fact that every time the Gators had the ball, it seemed like they were going to score, and the Bulldogs, they couldn't keep pace with them. They ran out of steam. The Gators just completely outmatched them. They outstrengthened them. There was definitely injuries. I think if Stetson Bennett, the fourth, stays in the game, I think it's a little bit closer. A crazy first half, though. Crazy. Neither team's defense bothered to play in the first half. Absolutely amazing. And then the second half, it was like a defensive clinic. You're like, oh, okay. Good game, though.
Kyle Trask, I told you, boy was going to go off. 30 of 43, 474, 4 touchdowns and an interception. Breaks the SEC record with 4 touchdown throws. Just fucking yummy.
Yeah, him and Justin Shorter were linking up very nicely in this game. It's got a really good, I don't know what the word would be. I was going to say telepathy. That might be a bit too much. But he's got a very good working relationship with his players. They trust him. And he trusts, in turn, his wideouts to get the ball in tough situations. And if you go back and watch it, there are a lot of big chunk plays here with yards after the catch. So ultimately, don't get me wrong, he had a fantastic game, Trask, no question. But I think it wouldn't have been quite as fantastic if it hadn't been for the fact that his wideouts were really good at grafting after the carry, picking up extra yards, finding room. Some great plays being made here. Players just stretching out like crazy, trying their best to do an Odell Beckham Jr. impression. It was interesting, actually. The Gators are always one of those teams that I keep hearing about, and as a rookie fan, I'm thinking, well, I expect them to be good, so they'll probably turn up at some point. But, the Bulldogs hit them in the mouth so early. You thought, ooh. Problem was, they didn't have the pace to get going. Yeah. They felt like Pastor Douglas. If they didn't knock them out within 2 quarters, they were going to be in trouble. And the Gators, they just kept coming, and eventually they got in trouble. And like I say, I think as soon as Stetson Bennett the fourth went down, they had big problems because they're back. Like, for instance, there's one of the big reasons why Clemson and Notre Dame are so special, particularly Clemson, as we saw that backup quarterback comes in, barely looks, it's like plug and play offense, doesn't even look like he's missed a game, looks like he's literally just Trevor Lawrence in a different fucking body. Simple as that, because each quarterback knows the playbook and knows how to play at the maximum of their capability. You could argue they probably have 2 Heisman candidates on their team, if they were both afforded the opportunity to play a full season. Whereas with this, Stetson Bennett the fourth, he goes down, and Mathis came in, and he was not very good whatsoever. So if I'm Georgia, I'm sitting there thinking, better do some fucking really hard work, making sure we got good depth in this squad going forward, because that's probably what's going to keep them from being a heavyweight contender.
With the performance of Kyle Trask, do you see him getting into a Heisman race? Because
I believe he deserves recognition. Absolutely. I don't know what kind of wins he's got coming into this game as much. It was very. One thing people don't realise is so many games and so many. It's very difficult to, I was trying to have a look at who they beaten beforehand and things like that. But and also this season as well is a bit of an anomaly, because some teams started this week. Some people have only had 3 games. Some people have had 7 games. I was like, Jesus Christ, and you're trying to work it out. So you'd have to afford me a bit of opportunity to sit down. From what I saw, he's no doubt one of the more elite quarterbacks in this league. I don't think he's as good as
Mac Jones has got his number 2.
He's not as good as him. He's not as good as Trevor Lawrence.
He's not as good as Mac. from
I don't think it's
Alabama.
as good as Book, at least from what I saw in the games.
Yeah.
Ultimately, Book's done that against the number one
Mm.
ranked team
In the country, yes.
in college football as well. So he's a nice player. And the thing about Trask is he might go under the radar slightly. And because of that, I reckon an NFL team might pick him up and might catch him at a pretty good bargain as well. I'm looking at someone like the Falcons, who are going to be having to look for someone long term once Matt Ryan's gone. So they're going to be dipping their toes into the draft soon, and Trask could be sitting there quite nicely. So.
Yes. To bring into perspective about Florida, their only one loss was against Texas A&M by 3 points.
Mm.
And this is by far their biggest win.
They went off of it, didn't they, this weekend?
This is by far their biggest win of the season.
Mm.
The next biggest one would probably be, Ole Miss.
Georgia didn't look like a fifth seed, though. I'll tell you that much.
Georgia,
I didn't see who they played beforehand, but
Georgia lost to Alabama. Alabama beat Georgia.
Well, yeah, I mean,
third week.
It's hard to gauge, isn't it? Because Alabama are like one of the best. So
Georgia beat Auburn.
Mm.
Give me a second. I kind of remember, but
so is a lot of this down to the fact that Stetson Bennett IV got injured?
Yes, honestly.
Well, that's worrying to me because obviously, as soon as he got injured, they had pretty much nothing. They were a limp dick on offense, and we saw with all the other elite teams this weekend that when they're afforded the opportunity, regardless of injuries or COVID-19 status and things like that, that they were still able to get the job done. So obviously, Georgia don't have the depth that a lot of these other teams do.
Oh man, I just saw that. No, I just saw that highlight for the targeting ejection by Sign. Oh fuck! He damn near took Kyle Pitts' head off.
Yeah.
Lewis Sign.
It's also worth pointing out as well, the one thing I will say about this Georgia game as well, Marcus Rosemead went down with a horrendous leg break pretty early on. On the second touchdown. It actually went pretty viral on our Twitter account, you're welcome, in a more morbid sense. We got a shit ton of retweets and things. People were checking in because I just happened to see the footage as I was going, put it up there for people to see, not because I take delight in a leg break, but a lot of people wanted to see why there was such a big fuss there. Rosemead goes into the end zone, picks up the thing, and as he kind of rolls in, the other player's rolling with him, and his leg just goes underneath, and it just breaks the other way. It's pretty awful. Yeah, it was, very similar to the Alex Smith and the thingy scenario. But I'll tell you what, Marcus Rosemead, so it's a horrible injury, horrible. And you could see after that there was something about the Georgia players, just like, Jesus Christ. It's really awkward as well, because their number 7, Arnold, I think his name is, he doesn't realise. So he goes rushing in, oh my God, touchdown, baby, touchdown. And then literally there's a split second and then he does this. He goes, yeah, and then realises what's happened, and you're like, oh my God, that's funny, but really, really awkward as well. He gets carted off, not a tear in his eye. He's got a straight face, right? This black lad, he's just sitting there like this. Yeah, motherfucker, just broke my leg, innit? So he just completely fucking no-sold it. I was like, you fucking hero. And then, second half, he comes out with a cast on, and he sits there with his foot up on the thing, and he's like, yeah, fucking get on with it, Bulldogs. I'm like, you fucking animal. He just didn't give a shit. I was like, what a G. Most people were like, I need oxygen, I'm going to die. He's like, yeah, I'll play the second half. You probably have to be dragged off the field, get your ass back here.
I'll play the second half in the or in a
check it out.
No
it's gnarly. It's really gnarly.
I will check that out. I did say that Zamir White was going to go off in this game, and he got 7
Well, he went off in the first play, and then things went a bit quiet after that. Yeah. Anyone could go off when they've got 75 yards off of one play. Like, it's ridiculous. Have the ball. Bye.
Yep.
Unfortunately, after that, he seemed a bit gassed.
Yeah.
Everything slowed down for him. But yeah, he looks capable. His problem is going to be a little bit more of intelligence, from what I could tell. There were a lot of times where he took the ball, he tried to be too clever. He'd run back out and try and find another lane. And by that point, they were chasing him down. Going, come here, boy, it's lunch money time, baby. And but no, enough about the Bulldogs for me. I thought they looked really good in the first quarter. Then they ran out of steam. Injuries didn't help. The leg break was emotionally, I think, very shattering for them. But I'm interested to see how they do. Interested to see how they do. They're a team that I'll be curious to see because obviously if they maybe struggle in the next couple of games, then I'll understand that maybe they don't have the quality that a lot of people think they do. But they might come thundering back. You don't know. Stetson Bennett didn't certainly look like a guy who would miss a lot of game time. You know, he was stood there. He looked like he wanted to get out of it. He just kept doing this. He was like, my neck. And they were just like, yeah, nah, we're not going to risk it.
Right. Georgia, with this loss, are now tied with Florida. Florida controls their destiny. If they can run the rest of the games, they will go to the SEC championship game to face either Alabama or Auburn, because that's who it's essentially going to come down to. Or not Alabama and Auburn, Alabama and Texas A&M.
I saw enough on offense to know that they'll cause a lot of trouble. Defense, however, the speed at which they ship points, I think a team like Alabama especially will exploit that.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there was that game.
All very well getting to the championship game, but if you haven't got hope in winning it, it doesn't really matter, does it?
Exactly. That's kind of like the ACC championship game. Like, honestly, every time the ACC championship game comes up, it's either Clemson against some poor soul.
Yeah. There's a lot of talk that they might bump into Notre Dame again, which would be fantastic.
That would be fucking great.
Yeah, that would be the rematch to end all rematches, mate. The grudge match, the Thriller and Manila.
Yes.
We'll have more of that, please.
So the next game I want to talk about is the Arizona State Sun Devils, who I thought had it, damn it. And USC pulled it out 28-27.
The
Trojans. Not a lot of big numbers from the guys that I thought were going to put up. Jaden Daniels for Arizona State, 11-23, 134 yards and a touchdown. This kid last year as a freshman was throwing like 400-yard games in like 2-3 games straight. And he puts up 134 against USC. I mean, don't get me wrong. He did get 11 carries for 111 yards on the ground.
This was their first games as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was their first games. But it's like
it's always a bit of an anomaly, the first game. That's why I think it's so surprising that we had as many upsets and have had as many upsets coming into this weekend as we've had, is because you would think that most upsets would occur early doors in a season like this, when you're starting late, when there's COVID parameters, when there's all kinds of things, not as much of a home, especially if you're playing in a huge stadium like Texas teams are, and you've only got like a quarter or an eighth of the fans there. It does take away a lot of that passion. We saw that with Oklahoma as well. They seem to be lacking a lot of fans. As well as, the one thing I didn't mention as well, the Gators and the Georgia Bulldogs was played in Jacksonville as well, and only 9,000 fans each. So, that would have certainly. Jacksonville's never seen so many actual proper football fans in its life. But,
they always turn up for the world's largest cocktail party, baby, because it's a sweet deal.
Pecan cocktail. There's nothing more sweeter. Dip him in mimosa, baby. Dip him in mimosa. But yeah, USC eke it out by just the 1 point. Highly competitive, highly exciting. If you're Arizona State, you are sick as a dog over this. Sick as a dog. Because that would have been a statement win early doors.
Yes.
USC, they're ranked 20th, I think. They're in the top
20th. I don't think they'll go any higher if they do.
No.
If they do, they'll go.
I think that ranking's quite generous considering they've just started as well.
Yeah.
And to be honest, if I'm Arizona, I think we could have started off with a ranked win here as well, and that would have really set them in good stead for a decent bowl game, which I'm sure they'll. I don't know whether they have a decent crack at one now or not. I don't fully understand yet. I should do plenty of research this week to learn up. But yeah,
Arizona State. They have 6 games to play, and if they lost this one, they will not be eligible for a bowl.
That's a shame. So there you go. Shame, really, because they turned up and played a really good game of football.
I honestly thought they had it.
Got a fan of me, boys. Got a fan of me. I loved your style of football. Loved the jerseys as well, by the way. Loved them. Loved them. I don't know. It's really hard to get a college jersey over there. Holy shit. It's going to cost me a lot of money, I reckon, when I do eventually have the finances. There's a few jerseys I was looking at thinking, gotta get me one of those, but you're going to have to order them from abroad, so the shipping's going to be brutal. Probably have COVID on it as well. So. But no, it's a shame, really. But, they deserve a shout out on this podcast. I thought they were fantastic because I imagine not many people are probably going to mention Arizona over the next week or so. Even the College Game Day gang, they weren't exactly fascinated by it. It was all USC this and USC that. So, Arizona, fair play to you. Gave it a good run. I love me an underdog, mate. Exactly. Or an underdevil.
It would have been really cool if they would have won it. But, Keaton Slovis, he was this supposed second coming of fucking Steve Young, and he played like shit. Yes,
he looked like the second coming of Steve Nash at the Lakers.
Yes, he put up almost 400 yards, but he had a touchdown and 2 picks. Or was it 2? No, 2 touchdowns and a pick. Still, ridiculous.
Nothing that would, set the world ablaze.
Exactly. Next game is West Virginia.
By the river.
Getting barely beaten by Texas.
Yeah.
Barely.
I watched this game was boring. Boring. So for some reason, even though a lot of the streams were named different games, one had Georgia on it and another had Arizona on it. But for some reason, this game I assume was being played on national television because it was all over all the streams. It was
supposed to be on ABC.
Yeah, so I thought, while I'm having a bath and I'm washing my undercarriage, I thought, I'll watch this then because I have my laptop in the bathroom. So I thought, fine, I'm not going to get out and fucking get all wet on the laptop and ruin the laptop because I'll need that for fuck's sake. So I just thought, well, fine, fuck it, we'll roll with West Virginia. And it was fucking tedious. Tedious. It was just labouring to beat them. I was trying to write notes. I was like, I'm so bored. I can't wait for Notre Dame. Go away. I don't like you. I was watching it thinking, I've got no emotional investment in Texas. West Virginia, I'm sure they're lovely people. I love the songs, but I should say, one thing I did realise is, although I'm really, really excited, and you can tell the marketable difference from this podcast from ones before it, and how quickly I can pick up the knowledge there. This was a game where I just had no interest in picking up anything.
Yeah.
So whatever you got to say, and let's move on.
Like this one was a defensive game, and that's a shock for the Big 12.
It was. It really was. What was it 17-13 in the end?
Yeah.
It was 17-13 for a long time as well.
Yeah, the fourth quarter there was no points scored in the fourth.
You know why it hit me in the mouth a little bit, this game? I've realised this, because obviously I dedicated myself to the whole weekend. I thought I'm going to fucking bury myself in this shit. And I watched NC State, and that was a fucking killer game. And then I watched the Boise State Broncos get quite literally rogered off the face of the earth by BYU. And I'm thinking, college football, mate. Points, touchdowns everywhere. And then West Virginia said, and I'm like, nope. I was like, what are you doing? That's not fun. That's not exciting. I don't want to watch young men tackling each other, at least not in that fashion. I was just like, no, you're ruining it for me. Ruining it. Go away. And then Notre Dame and Clemson were like, we got all the points you can handle, motherfucker. So I was like, oh, good stuff.
Yes.
I missed out on Mexico versus Hawaii, though. That's the one I want to watch next.
The next game. Oh, fuck. The next game was the Liberty Flames. I called it. Beating Virginia Tech 38-35. But should have been Liberty's win.
Should it have what?
Should Liberty have won? I mean, I heard that when I was listening to the radio, they brought up the Liberty thing and how apparently the kicker kicked the ball. It was blocked. Virginia Tech took it back. And upon further review, they realized that Virginia Tech called a timeout and iced themselves.
Yeah, they if anything, I mean, it's a case of they should have won it, but Virginia Tech hosed themselves.
Yeah.
Dumb call.
Well, the thing is,
trying to be clever.
If there was a timeout, they should have never been able to snap it. They should have never been able to take the ball and run it. If there's a timeout called, they call it right then and end the fucking play. So how is it that you had to go to review to see the fucking guy go like this, timeout, and then realize, oh, fuck, we fucked up. Well, Liberty gets another shot because Virginia Tech called the timeout. And then they fucking, the kicker, after getting one block, just said, fuck you, right down the fucking pipe. And the Flames win. Was it a good game? Yes. Was it a game that had much controversy? Absolutely. But the Flames will take it.
There was a lot of that. I noticed that. There's a lot of that. Normally, you'd zone in one game and think, that's where your controversy is. But with college, loads of it. The state of officiating was so inconsistent on a lot of the games as well. And brings up, now I have it on good authority, they're not paid very much, the college ones. And that's a problem right there. Like, pay your goddamn officials. And I have to pay them the earth. But come on, you got a head coach over there who's on what, $6-7 million if he's one of the big ones, like, and you can't pay these guys a few grand. Come on, do better. Do better. What do you expect? This was the same case with the NFL, remember? Do you remember when they had the strike? And rightfully so, because they were getting paid jack shit. And so they brought in like lingerie football league refs, and they had that hilarious debacle with Seattle and Green Bay, right at the end of the game, and it was like, it's clearly, no, we'll just make it up as we go along. Okay, fair enough. Like, it was just, they, at the end, after that, they were like, Roger Goodell was like, shit, we better actually pay them some money. Because these lot are fucking terrible. And yeah, that was a big problem all week. But that's that Liberty game. I'd like to go back and watch that properly, because that was kind of just sat there in the background, and I'll just look around every now and then and see something going off.
Liberty and Virginia Tech's quarterback went off in the air and went off in the ground.
There was one guy, Yarber.
Yeah, CJ Yarbrough.
Wide out. Good player. Like him.
In the very first game that Liberty
I think he scored a touchdown like inside like the first few minutes. I was like, no.
CJ in the very first game for Liberty had a literal one-handed, just beautiful catch in the end zone.
Yeah, he was a stud. He was a real stud, that kid. I was well impressed.
Malik Willis, the Liberty
talking about Willis?
Yeah, exactly. He had
every fucking day.
20 of 30, 217 yards, and 3 touchdowns in the air. He also had 19 carries, 108 yards, and a touchdown on the ground.
Yeah, piss take of that, boy.
Man. And then fucking Hendon Hooker, the Virginia Tech quarterback, was 20.
I've had a Hendon Hooker before. It certainly wasn't nearly as exciting as he was, I'll tell you.
Hooker, on 3 passes less than Willis, got the same, 217 and 3 touchdowns. But on the ground, he had 20 carries, 156 yards, and a touchdown. So Hooker technically had a better game, but they still lost.
Mm.
But, yeah, the Flames are now 7-0, coming into probably the rest of their garbage schedule, and then their final game against Coastal Carolina, which that will be an absolute burner.
Mm.
Yes. The next game is the Marshall Thundering Herd.
I saw some tweets about this lot. I haven't seen this. I saw some tweets. I was like,
51-10, Marshall beat.
It was what, sorry?
51-10, Marshall beat UMass.
What, Massachusetts?
Yeah. Remember the kid we were talking about that we were like, hey, he should turn up for the Patriots because he threw in like 6 passes.
Oh, this was the retard kid. Yeah. I was.
Yeah, but apparently he didn't play.
Oh, what? That's not any fun. Why? No, you know why? Because he's fucking prepping himself to start for the Jets. Because I saw that they're apparently going to start Flacco. That won't last more than a few touches. Get retard kid in there. Make a wish, kid. Here you go. This is your chance. This is your chance to impress on a terrible Patriots D. Can't wait.
Oh, man.
Can't wait. Well, probably best he didn't turn up then. 51.
Yeah.
They're undefeated, aren't they? Marshall.
Huh? Yeah, Marshall's undefeated at 6-0.
Yeah. No, I didn't see it, unfortunately.
51-10. Like, jeez.
If Jeremy had recorded this tomorrow, I might have sat down and watched some of these games and covered them as well. But I've only really got good input on 5 games, and we've covered 3 of them already.
Cincinnati knocking off Houston. They are undefeated still, and
they sat down the quarterback for the 4th quarter as well.
Yeah,
Ritter.
Yeah,
They sat him for the 4th quarter. They were like, "Yeah, we can't be arsed now."
Well, I mean, he did have 4 touchdowns, 3 on the ground and 1 in the air. So
looks like a talent. Not enough people seem to be talking about Cincinnati, and we mentioned that last week.
yes,
Cincinnati look good. I think a lot of their players will end up going quite late in the draft as well. They're good. They're good players. I like the look of what I've seen of Cincinnati. I watched their game last week pretty well and thought they were really good in that game. So, but obviously I bow to what games I'm afforded to watch via the schedule of YouTube. So,
right. Notre Dame, with Notre Dame winning and Clemson going down, Clemson will probably go to second or third. Alabama will go to 1. Notre Dame will probably go to 2. And that might push. The only thing I could see is maybe Ohio State going from 4 to 3, and Clemson going to 4. But if they think that this was enough to knock Clemson out of the top 4, we could see Cincy in the top 4.
I think taking a foot off the gas a little bit might hurt them. I'm told that running up the score can help a little bit at times, and they didn't do that in the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Could have kept him out there and just fucking massacred them. So I don't know. Again, where I am so early doors, I won't be able to really lend too much in the way of an argument to that. From what I've seen so far, they're a fantastic outfit, and it's nice to hear a different, team being mentioned, because I've never heard of Cincinnati being thrown around there as a college heavyweight before until now. That being said, from what I've seen so far, I don't think they're good enough to be in the Final Four.
It will be an interesting situation.
Have they got a big ranked game left?
Cincy, I don't think they do have a big ranked game left. I think
what will keep them out of it ultimately is probably not having a heavyweight win.
Yeah, they don't have any more ranked games going on. The
thing about college football, it becomes a bit of a guessing game. And it would have been even worse before they instituted a 14 playoff. So,
the BCS was a joke.
At the end of the day, there's going to be 2 or 3 teams that are going to be. There always is. Even I know that as somebody who doesn't watch it until now. That there's always going to be a few teams bitching and whining, thinking that they've earned themselves a spot and they might have an argument towards one. But
they're talking about maybe next year extending it to 8, and they do.
Well, they would have got in. I think
if they do an 8. Yeah, if they get
with 4 right now, right now you can't look past. Even I can't look past Alabama, Notre Dame, Clemson, and possibly
Ohio State.
So.
Yeah, those would probably be your top 4 since Ohio State's number 3. They'll probably go to 2. Bama will go to 1.
And obviously,
you know what? With Notre Dame beating number 1, I think it will be Alabama 1, Notre Dame 2, Ohio State.
You're just desperate for Alabama to finish 1.
Alabama, they're undefeated, and they've beaten 2 ranked teams.
Have they got any big games left? Because they're bye week this week.
It was their bye week this week. They have LSU, Auburn, who's ranked, and they have Kentucky and
Colonel.
Then they have the SEC championship game, which could either be Florida or Georgia.
That looks like their biggest possible opportunity to slip up. But I don't see them doing that.
Yeah.
Florida might have a chance if they can put enough points up on them.
Yeah, I don't know. LSU, Kentucky, Auburn, and then Arkansas to end out the year, and then the SEC championship game, which again will either be Florida.
We shall see you in the SEC championship.
Yeah, it will either be Florida or Georgia.
What's next, mate?
Yes, next we have. How about the 62-9 drubbing of Oklahoma to Kansas?
Shouldn't take long.
No, not at all. Good God.
Whatever. Dude. There's your result. Next.
Yeah.
No point talking about that. Come back to me when you're competitive.
Next, Oklahoma State barely eking out a win against Kansas State.
Mm-hmm.
I was hard on Will Rogers.
Rogers.
I was hard on the kid, because he was a rookie. And he did what he had to do. 10 to 21, 143 yards, a touchdown, and a pick. But on the ground, 14 for 125 and a touchdown. Like, he was a dual threat. So he brought Kansas State close, just missed it by a hair. Hell, he
just a bit outside.
Exactly.
To be fair, Oklahoma State are ranked 14th. They were favorites to win this game, were they not?
They were favorites.
Kansas have a 4-3 record coming into this. Like, this was more a case of Kansas had to kind of show up for pride, and could they cause a slight upset here?
Oklahoma State were favored by 14 points.
Exactly. So if you're Kansas, you're not exactly going to be like, damn. It's just the fact they got that close and didn't quite get the win. So you're probably sitting there thinking, that would have been the highlight of our season right there.
Yeah, that could have been.
But if you're Oklahoma State, you're looking at this and thinking, kind of flattering to deceive a little bit.
We just lost to Texas, and we almost lost to Kansas State.
Yeah, are they worthy of a 14th ranked position?
Yeah, they were 6th ranked after they
dropping
lost
rapidly. Clearly not elite.
Exactly. Texas A&M's 48-3 beat down of the Gamecocks. They beat that cock so bad.
What did I say? What did I say about penetration with the cock? If the cock does not get penetration of the horns or whatever they're fucking called, the A&Ms, like, the Aggies, see? They tried to give them some aggro, but the Aggies weren't having none of your cock. None of it. None of it. There was no penetration. No, there was no insemination.
No.
They couldn't leave their mark. They just... fuck's sake, Gamecocks. Why'd you bother?
Right.
You should have turned up. I remember us kind of half jokingly sort of saying, oh, if the Gamecocks can get a bit of penetration. There was none of that. They got ruined, mate.
None of it.
If you told me which one was playing the position of the cock, I was pretty sure it was the other team. I assume the A in A&M means anal.
And the M is masochist?
Possibly. Anal and masochist.
Yeah.
They should call themselves A&T, and then it could be anal trauma.
Okay. That would have been...
Like, you don't know what anal trauma is. Crack on.
Uh-huh.
We don't need to get big bazookas back, do we?
Next, we've got number 17 Iowa State going over Baylor by 7, which is kind of shocking.
Hold it.
Because I thought it was going to be more, because Baylor has been playing like shit. They were favored by 14.
Baylor?
Brees Hall once again goes off, 31 carries, 133 yards, and 2 touchdowns. That's a lot of carries and not a lot of yards. So Hall did go off, but he didn't get the numbers that he's used to.
Iowa State were 14-point favourites, right?
Yes.
Yeah, because for a 5-1 team, they really laboured in this. Laboured. I mean, from a neutral perspective, I'm sitting there going, "Oh, great!" And then someone tells me that Iowa State should be running them over. I'm like, "Oh, okay."
Yeah.
Baylor again, basketball university.
Yeah, Brees Hall, Iowa State's running back. He's normally getting like almost 300 yards a game, and for him to get 31 carries, 133.
Yeah, 133 yards. What a scrub!
No.
Scrub. Do better, mate. You're rubbish.
Ohio State. Io. They went over Rutgers 49-27.
Yeah, I bet
not
that was
a big shock.
Not really. Not considered. The Rutgers, even Rutgers, if you go and look at their Twitter account, even they know how bad they are. They're just taking a piss out of themselves half the time. Fucking brilliant. I was like, I'm going to give you a follow. Good times.
Yeah.
This was not an achievement. The Buckeyes are looking like they could be in a playoff spot at the end of this season.
Yeah, they put Justin Fields with his 6 touchdowns in one game. That's fucking nuts. 24-28, 314 yards, and 5 touchdowns in the air.
Damn near perfect.
Yeah, damn near perfect.
Yeah, I think he had the highest the cleanest record out of any this weekend. So.
Yeah,
but
for
that
sure.
being said, it's also against Rutgers.
Yeah. Wait till he turns up against Maryland probably next week, I think. The next game we'll talk about is Oregon going up against Stanford. They did not do limes on their heads in Corona colors. They did not do scrubs like I thought they would.
Because they are scrubs.
They just came out in their normal green jerseys.
Boring, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know why? Because America just abuses them all the time. Everywhere they got a different jersey, and now they've decided, well, fuck you then. You're not getting any of our nice, shiny, colourful jerseys. Bollocks to you. We'll come out in plain white next week. Fuck yous. They should just come out with nothing on them, just completely blank. That'd be amazing. Like, not even wear jerseys, just come out naked. There you go. Fuck yous. No green, nothing. You can see 2 helmets for the price of 1. Fuck yous. First game of the season, though. Off and running.
Yeah. Oregon.
Ranked 12th, aren't they?
Yeah, they were ranked 12th. I think.
I remember that. That's completely off my head.
They will definitely be up there come next week. Stanford's kicker, Jet Toner, missed 4 field goals.
What a name, though. Like, what a name.
Yeah. Like, did his mom and dad get fucked by a printer?
I was just about to say, like, I'm pretty sure they got molested by a printer. So, not even a colour one either. Clearly, it wasn't even a laser printer.
Jet Toner? Like,
really
seriously,
was it Jet Toner or Jeff Toner?
Jet. Jet.
I love that name, Jet Toner. That's got the makings.
He's printer.
Mate, he's got the makings of a Jean-Claude Van Damme B-movie martial arts action star, like starring Jet Toner. Your class, give them to me. Go on, Toner. Yeah, his mum and dad probably were printers, made love, and then out popped his cartridge, and here we go.
Good one. Good one.
I was a big fan of his father, Epsom Toner. He was quite the printer back in the day. He was very efficient, mate.
Yeah.
You used to get 50 pages a carry out of him. Impressive. And that was back in the day when colour printers weren't even a big thing, You had to be really rich to afford an Epsom, I'll tell you.
Indeed.
The final. We'd have printer humour on this fucking podcast.
Right, that's great.
Yeah,
the final game in the rankings of the top 25 is Coastal Carolina going over South Alabama 23-6. Not a shock. I think
not a good game.
Like I said, the final game of the season for both Liberty and Coastal Carolina is against each other, and obviously one of those will break their undefeated streak. But
I quite fancy Liberty right now.
I think Liberty will win it.
Yeah.
I mean, Coastal's good. They're putting up big points, but they're playing no good teams, really. So we go into the ACC, and North Carolina and Duke. Did you happen to see any of this? No? Okay.
I will say one thing. Shouldn't have picked Duke.
Yeah. Fucking hell, dude.
I did say that I was basing this on the premise of a basketball game. Which is like, and again, this is a heavy-hitting affair if you're a basketball fan. Not so much when it comes to football.
Yeah.
No, it was a blowout. An absolute massacre.
Javonte Williams with his 4 fucking touchdowns. Just this, fuck. 56-24, UNC beat Duke. We had BC, who came off their close loss to Clemson last week. Barely. Yeah. But barely.
I thought it was British Columbia for a minute.
Barely squeak out a win against Syracuse, 16-13.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I picked Syracuse for that as well. I picked Syracuse and they almost got them.
But it's the tale of 2 fucking teams. Like,
told you, didn't I? Roll with the tangerines, baby.
But you went fucking toe-to-toe with the number 1 team in the country.
Were this close. Close.
Yeah, it was. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, no, that was not a good game to watch for a noob.
No, Boston College. Like I said, Boston College was literally ahead.
They got a big game next week, haven't they, Boston College?
I don't know. Boston College.
I think they're facing Notre Dame next week.
Is it next week? Oh, fuck my life.
So
they'll be facing 2 number 1 or possibly 2 number 1s in the same season. Ooh, that's flattering to deceive.
Tell me about
Boston
it.
College better
They
turn the
should try
fuck
playing
up.
the Red Sox for that game. Okay.
Alex Cora is coming back, or is back after his sign stealing and shit. But that's baseball.
Yes, that's baseball.
The next.
Baseball's redundant. Do you know what? I'm not acknowledging this season. I'm putting an asterisk on this season. It's made worse by the fact that obviously I'm a San Francisco Giants fan as a native fan. That's my first team, and I fucking hate the Dodgers. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I hate the Dodgers. So fuck them. Doesn't count. They're like, ooh, we won our first World Series in 30 years. Yeah, you only played like fucking 10 games to win it. Get out of here.
Exactly.
Season. Come back next season and I'll be impressed. It would have been so funny if Houston had won it.
Right. The next game was Pitt going over Florida State, 41-7.
I'm just rolling at this point, mate. You just keep racking them out. I'm waiting for you to start talking about the big teams again.
What you mean? They are big teams. These are ACC teams. That game's...
At least fucking talk about the games I watched. I'm like...
Okay, fine.
Yeah. I fucking sat down and watched all these bloody games.
The Miami, North Carolina State game. Let's talk about Miami and North Carolina State.
How many games do you think I have the ability to watch? I'm not like the fucking architect from The Matrix. I don't have 55 screens in front of me. I'm like the fucking Dustin Hoffman and Rain Man character. I'm like, yeah, touchdowns everywhere. I'm not
Miami and North Carolina State. This was a fucking barn burner. Miami and North Carolina State.
Yes. This was the first game I watched properly in many a moon. And I thought, I'm going to sit down, got myself a nice little bit of Captain Morgan's. I'm going to chill out and watch me some American for some college football. And I'll warm myself up for that big NFL Sunday that I love every single week. This was fucking great, mate. To the notes. I have a lot of notes for this one, actually. I was super excited about this because it obviously I was rooting for the Wolfpack. Tuffy 2 passed away as well.
I saw that.
Their mascot. Beautiful dog. And you know me, sucker for animals, especially dogs. So I was just like, come on, Wolfpack, do it for the dog. I was so desperate for them to win, and they almost did as well. I didn't get the Wolfpack theme, which is fine, but I got everything else. By the way, their mascot, the human mascot in the suit, great fun, doing like press ups and shit. It's very funny. I've always very amusing. Miami, the U, ranked 11th, 5-1 coming into this game against 4-2 North Carolina State Wolfpack. And what did I say? I was so frustrated because I picked Wolfpack to win this. And you were like, whatever. You scoffed at me once again, as you always do, because you think you know better, because you're a Yankee doodle. And, you were right. By about this much. Just a bit outside. I could hear that guy fucking shouting at me from across the Atlantic and the Pacific. In fact, the whole fucking continent, or if you believe the Earth's flat, from about, 10 yards that one. And if you do, shut the fuck up. ACC. At this point, I wrote down ACC contest. No idea why. I just thought this is apparently important. Too many divisions. Just have one.
Oh, no.
I get it. It's because of the states. I understand why. De'Aaron King. You made a very interesting statement. See, unfortunately for you, where this podcast is on YouTube, that means I have the capability of going back and listening to your said opinions every single time at my leisure. And the very first thing out of your mouth was, I don't trust De'Aaron King. It's exactly what you said. I don't trust De'Aaron King. He's not elite. You know, he's not a star player. De'Aaron King... So, I mean, according to our good brother here, he's almost a bit... Would you hasten to say that you essentially implied that he was a bit weak? A bit, on the low side, this old De'Aaron King?
I would say that, yes, I did. I would have agreed that De'Aaron King flattered to deceive.
Yeah, I remember your exact words were, I don't trust De'Aaron King, he flatters to deceive, and De'Aaron King is not going to be the reason that Miami win this game, which is quite interesting because, well, I thought I'd have a look at his stats, you know? The Miami Hurricanes starting quarterback, De'Aaron King, against NC State. Well, This is a bit awkward now, isn't it? 31 to 41, 430 yards, 5 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. What a scrub, eh? What a scrub. This geezer was like that. It's almost like Jerry Uviner's words were echoing. He's like, I'll fucking give you, scrub. I'll fucking show you who's a liability, you cunt. He just connected with everything. And he was doing it from the get-go. And I sat there and I thought, because do you know what? I took you at face value. I thought, Jeremy knows more than me. Of course he does. He's been watching college football for years. And this is why I think that after a few weeks, I might just catch up with you very quickly. Because I thought, okay, well, I'm expecting this lad to... Oh, turns out that he's actually a fucking monster. What a terrible take. Probably the worst take of the week. And bearing in mind, I picked Boise State to overcome BYU. Not seeing the injury pile up, by the way. Jesus, more injury prone than a fucking 1955 Tottenham Hotspur midfielder. Yeah, no, it was just carnage. Whoever he wanted to find, he would find. Oh, by the way, 105 yards off of 15 carries rushing as well. That brings his total to, just the 535 yards of offense that he put up by himself. Against the Wolfpack, who, by the way, were fucking tremendous in this game. Hockman, he turned up. He had a reasonable game, to be fair. He did throw an interception, albeit quite late. It was a tip as well, so it's a little bit unfair for anyone who watched it. Like, he was doing really well, and then it was in the receiver's hands, tipped it, interception. So it's a bit unfair on him. His problem was that he relied on his running game a lot, his rushes, and I can understand that. To a certain extent, they wanted to try and take away, I think, a lot of time on the field from Miami, from what I could see from their game plan. But Hockman was 19-28, 248 yards, 2 touchdowns, and the INT, which I thought was a bit unfortunate and a bit of a blemish on an otherwise decent afternoon. But he's not elite, I can tell you that much. Now, if you'd said to me, De'Aaron King, I don't trust him, I would have understood. If you'd said to me that Hockman, you didn't trust him, but instead you chose De'Aaron King. So, yeah, this is the way. I'm half tempted to tweet him and send him like a video of you just going, I don't trust this kid. I don't know if it was just because he's black or because...
No. Okay. In the Clemson game,
I'm not racist. I have black friends. I'm not racist. You're not that person who goes into a gay club. I have lots of gay friends. Please don't bum me. It was, by the way, Person Junior. I quite like the look of this kid. He was a rusher for NC State. He had 12 carries, 79 yards. But averaging 6.6 yards a carry against a team like Miami, I thought was quite impressive. I thought they put in a hell of a performance. They did. Zamir Knight as well was another guy to look out for NC State. His name kept popping up. The guy who impressed me the most was Emezi. Yeah, 95 yards off of 4 receptions. He didn't get a touchdown, but he was there and everywhere, and he was putting in a lot of work. He was drawing double coverage a lot of the time. He just had an excellent game. I really like this kid. And also, very cool to know that he was actually scheduled to go back to Nigeria to visit his family. Never been to Nigeria, but he's of Nigerian descent. His family spoke about this really nicely, and he was scheduled to go back, and then COVID ruined it. And, he's a kid who understands, coming from a background like that you don't take for granted the successes of life. And you could see that he was hungry, he was passionate. I like NC State. They're going to kind of be like my sort of quiet little sort of side thing, because I love the passion, I love the style, I love the effort. I think they're the ultimate plucky underdog. How can you not like a proper underdog, Plus they're called the Wolfpack, so I will be pushing for the Wolfpack theme from here on out until I die, basically.
Well,
every
the
week
Wolfpack...
I'm attack Kevin Nash in all sorts.
The last 4 games for the Wolfpack are Florida State, which they should win handily. They get Liberty.
Ooh.
Then they got Syracuse.
I tell you what, if they play like they did against Miami, they got half a chance against Liberty.
Yeah.
I believe that. I believe Liberty, Liberty are trying to protect that undefeated record. They could get caught by NC State.
I could see them getting caught by NC State. The other game that was on Friday was, some team behind
BYU
you.
Scrubs, mate. Got lucky.
BYU Scrubs.
I started off taking notes, being verbally passionate. I was so excited. I was like, this is my team. This is my team, the Blue Field. I was so excited. I'm not going to fucking jump off the bandwagon just because we got royally humped, mate. I will persist with this team for the rest of my life. This is my team. That being said, even with all the injuries, they had the fourth string quarterback out there. They had the equivalent of fucking, I don't know, Trevor Siemian playing, right?
Yeah.
The bad situation, man. They were missing so many players. The starting tight end was missing. One of the best wideouts was missing. They were missing their best cornerback. It was just missing literally all the pieces. They were just falling by the wayside. BYU came in. Now, BYU, a lot of people are saying that their quarterback, Wilson, I think his name is, they feel that he should be in the shout for a Heisman running now.
Zach Wilson is going to be the second best quarterback coming out of the draft, people say.
Yeah,
behind Trevor.
I don't think he should be in the line for the Heisman yet because a lot of people are saying, what a performance this weekend. Yeah, against a unbelievably banged up Boise State who had barely any starting players. Like, you ran up the score on a team that couldn't stop anything. Like, even I'm going to sit here and say, Boise State were fucking awful. And by half-time, I was like, do you know what? I'm not going to bother writing anything down. I'm just going to put my feet up, play a bit of Hitman, and just keep an eye on the screen. I just kept looking back at the screen. Touchdown. I was like, oh, fuck off. And this is, bearing in mind as well, this game kicked off at 3:30 in the morning over here. Thank you very much. I really appreciated that. This drubbing finished at breakfast. I was like, right,
So,
they've had many a sausage put inside them, so I guess I may as well cook a few and have them as well.
yeah, so Zach Wilson, the reason that people say he's going to be the second best quarterback out of the draft, this year alone has 2,511 yards passing, 21 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and has a quarterback rating of 87.1.
Yeah, they got half of those stats from fucking Friday night.
He leads quarterbacks in yards. He's tied for first in touchdowns, tied for 35th in interceptions, and 10th in QBR.
I like how you say tied for 35th in interceptions, like they actually challenge each other for who can throw the most interceptions. There's some geezer at number one. I'm number one in interceptions. That's not a stat you want.
In the 3 years, because he's only a junior, in the 3 years that he's been with BYU, he has a average of a 70% completion rating. He had 1,578 yards in his freshman year, 2,382 yards in his sophomore year, and he's already got 2,511 in his junior year.
He hasn't beaten anyone. He's not beaten anyone. Come on. Have you seen their record, right?
Okay, but I'm talking about in the 3 years that he's been playing, he has won bowl games against, big names.
Like?
Oh, God. I knew you were going to ask me that.
I mean, I'm looking at it. So, for instance, this season, they've beaten Navy, Troy, LA Tech, UTSA, Houston, Texas State, Western Kentucky. Boise was by far and away their biggest game, and they only got to play about a third of their starters.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, they're obviously an impressive team, and he's obviously an impressive talent, but am I taking them as serious? Like, some people are saying, oh, you got to take them seriously. Oh, BYU's looking at this game between Notre Dame and Clemson. Are they? No. Their record is against some really bad teams. LA Tech. Yeah, what's that? The guys who make the iPhone. Come on. What a rubbish, mate. Don't get me wrong, you fucking hunters deserve to hunt us as well. I mean, it was so ugly at points. I honestly thought we weren't going to get a touchdown at all. I thought, oh God, this is going to be really, really bad. They ran up the score, and we deserved the thumping. We were terrible, but we had nothing there. Boise State doesn't have any depth at quarterback, none whatsoever. And when you've got your fourth string quarterback, come on, we're basically like the Dallas Cowboys right now.
Yeah. In his sophomore season, he did good again. He got injured, but
Way
was
to
able
sell
to.
it.
Huh? Yeah.
Way to sell it, mate.
Oh, I'm trying to in his
Come on,
freshman
man.
year.
We all know he's good, mate. What, they put 57 on Boise State? Like, he's fine. He'll be fine. He'll get picked up. He'll do absolutely fine. But
Yeah, he'll be
he
fine.
doesn't need 20 minutes of fucking dissection from us. Ultimately, as far as this season goes, which is the only thing I can really focus on, BYU, for me, this is their only high-level win. Unless you want to say maybe Houston.
No, that's a true statement. This is their only high level win, and to be fair,
And
it's
they
probably
were favourites coming into this game as well. It's not like we were favourites and they gave us a good humping. They gave a team, I think, we're ranked 19th coming into this game.
17th.
17th, like probably ranked 19th now, probably ranked 1900th after this fucking performance.
Yeah, their next two games for BYU are North Alabama and San Diego State, and then whoever ends up winning the Mountain West go into the Mountain West conference.
Yeah, that's the problem right there. It's not their fault. Their schedule is unbelievably easy, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
like, this was basically their bowl game. Like, I was a little bit surprised when I saw it. I thought, because they were talking about it, and that just goes to show that you get a favourable schedule. They've got the most favourable schedule of any team I've seen in college football. It's a doddle. It's an absolute doddle. Imagine if Alabama had that schedule. Holy shit. Scored 100 points a game.
Yeah, people were...
Oh, Mac Jones, it'd be fucking return of the Mac. Fucking hell. You could put a fucking bowl of mac and cheese at quarterback and he'd probably still get 20 points against this schedule.
Right. We'll run down a few of the other high-level scores.
Give us some quick follow. We haven't spoken about Maryland, mate.
Oh, no, we're getting to there. Trust me, because they weren't ranked.
It's 6 in the morning, mate. I've still got to watch the 1999 Royal Rumble pay-per-view in full and fucking review it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, exactly. So get on with it.
Okay, I'm down for that. Let's see. So we had South Florida barely losing to Memphis 34-33. Tulane ended up beating East Carolina 38-21.
Yeah, told you, didn't I? Roll with the Louisianans, baby. A bit of Southern comfort.
Did you pick East Carolina?
No, I picked Tulane, didn't I? Because of Southern comfort.
Oh, that's right. Because you were like, wait, why are they called Tulane?
Yeah.
Georgia State beat Louisiana Monroe 52-34. Northwestern are 3-0 for the first time.
Yeah, we both had them.
In the Big Ten, they beat Nebraska 21-13.
Big fans of them.
Iowa thumped Michigan State 49-7.
Pulled that one as well.
Louisiana Lafayette beat Arizona State 27-20. Georgia Southern beat Troy 20-13. Southern Mississippi beat North Alabama 24-13.
Half these games played in swamps. Down at the bayou. Mm-hmm.
Appalachian State beat Texas State 38-17.
Yes,
that was a good one.
Appalachia State.
Yes,
sir.
See
the state of my Appalachia.
Wow. And then here's the one we were wanting to talk about. Maryland going up against Penn State.
I've never been so unhappy to be right about a pick.
Penn State were a 27.5-point favorite.
Yeah.
And they got thumped.
It wasn't even like they lost by a lot of points. They got ruined. And do you know what fucks me off is I found, we both said that Maryland would win. We both picked them as an upset. I thought the point spread was in. I don't understand that. Yeah. That must be a fix. I reckon someone in Vegas was like, fix that one and I can make it like $500,000, just like bung city.
Yep.
And I even said to my partner, I was like, do you know what? I really like this Maryland game. I quite think I might throw a tenner on this. If I find a tenner, it would have been worth like £100. Which is not huge money, but still, tenfold what you put down. And I decided not to put it down. I thought, no, discretion is the better part of valor. Gambling's bad for you and all that nonsense. And they fucking ruined them. And the other bet I was going to put on was fucking Notre Dame to beat the spread. So I should really pay attention to my instincts. So I'm doubling down on Atlanta tomorrow, mate. All my money's going on the Falcons 50 quid on them, 50 quid on them doing us. I've told you. I'm sticking with my gut. Falcons to score 60 points, mate. Give me that spread. Give it to me. Yeah. I think it's going to be a thumbing and a half. Matt Ryan's going to go off, mate. Records.
That's funny.
But yeah, amazing win for Maryland, who frankly were underappreciated and undermined by the fact they came out after that incredible overtime winning against Minnesota. People were turning their noses up at them. It's Maryland. Oh, how nice of them to turn up. Aren't they sweet? And all like, yeah, we'll give you some fucking Penn State, mate. Oh, they were furious, mate. Rampant. However, what's wrong with Penn State? What happened?
I don't know, man. Penn State they're falling apart. They should. Lions.
Cats, mate. Meow.
Yeah,
terrible.
I think what it was is the loss to Indiana kind of demoralized them.
Yeah, and they thought,
they lost that game.
Not going to get anywhere.
And then the Ohio State game, they thought they'd play a little bit better, but they got utterly destroyed by Justin Fields. And then Maryland, they're like, oh, Maryland, we'll come into Maryland, or we'll beat Maryland, no problem. And Tualia Tagovailoa thumped them.
Yeah.
Fucking thumped them. And guess who Maryland gets next week?
He'll be the backup at Miami next season. They'll draft him and all.
Oh, my God, that'd be hilarious.
Brilliant.
Hilarious.
They could do twin magic.
You know who Maryland gets next week and could be an upset special? Ohio State.
Nah, see, now I think we missed the opportunity here. I think we should have piled on this weekend because I reckon Ohio State will be like, yeah, we're not about dreams here. Fuck yourselves. I reckon Ohio State will give them a thumbing. That'll be the one where they thrash them on the spread. But people thought Penn State were going to rectify what was going on. They lost to Indiana. They came into this game 27.5-point favourites. Some bookies were going as far as 30. It was ridiculous. Mm-hmm. They thought Penn State were going to be all fire. Looks like the coaches lost them.
Yeah.
Mentally, they look lost. They look like they don't want to play for them because they did not turn out in this game either. And I'm sorry, don't get me wrong, I'm chuffed for Maryland. I quite like them. They're like the proper upset special this season. They're great fun. Everyone's got their eyes on them. They're pissing everybody off. They remind me when Seattle forced their way into the playoffs at 7 and 9.
Yeah.
And they were just playing, and then they caused the earthquake and beat Drew Brees and the gang. Which I'm sure you were fucking well happy about. Oh, I love that. When Beast went fucking mental. Skittles time in Seattle, baby. But yeah, no, I'm pleased for Maryland. It's great because it means that I'm going to keep an eye on them now. I'm going to be focused on I'm going to search out their game and watch it, especially next week against Ohio State. It's actually my dark horse pick to watch. But I don't think they'll get an upset there. I don't. I think Ohio State are too professional. I think they'll put Ohio State, like Penn State, right? No ruthless aggression. That's what they were missing. Ruthless aggression. And, Ohio State will have that. They'll go all Vinnie Mac on them. They will. Maybe Donald Trump could go to the game and fire up the Penn State team.
I don't think so. Trump's not allowed to be in Pennsylvania.
Do you know what? Penn State actually beat Maryland. If you actually talk about all the legal touchdowns instead of
God, shut up.
Penn State won this game easily and handily. I can assure you of that. It'd be great if if Donald Trump was in charge of college football, none of the teams would say, hey, fucking Boise State would have won. Yeah, that's right. Boise State, they scored 70 points. All their points were legal in this game. I think Boise State deserves the win against Brigham Young University. I'm not even happy that they're young. Young people shouldn't be playing football. It's unacceptable. Nobody likes a minor unless they're in my office scrubbing underneath my table. Thank you. Fucking love me some Trump, mate. Love him. Love him. I'm not a Republican. I'm not right wing. I'm not left wing. I don't give a shit. But he is fucking money, mate. Seriously, Donald, just go to WWE, mate. Just become the fucking GM of SmackDown.
No.
Money, can you imagine it? Okay, I've just about had it. It's not Roman Reigns anymore, okay? That Jey Uso, I'm getting him deported. He's clearly not legal in this country. It's unacceptable.
Oh, my God.
He'll freak out when he goes to NXT. What are these Mexicans doing in my wrestling show? This is unacceptable. We need to build a wall around NXT so they can't get into WWE Raw.
But Donald, they already have a wall. It's plastic.
That's no need for it's plexiglass, thank you. It's bulletproof. That's what man told me so. It's bulletproof. That's right. If you try and shoot Bobby Lashley, which I have tried to do on several occasions, because I think it's appropriate that we shoot all black people. I think that Bobby Lashley survives because of the plexiglass in the Elimination Chamber. That's why I picked him for my team at WrestleMania 27 or whatever fucking awful WrestleMania it was. And ultimately, I got my head shaved because a black man let me down.
No, Vince got his head shaved.
Yeah. It's ironic, isn't it? Donald Trump built pretty much his entire legacy on hating anybody of color. And yet it was a man of color who stopped him from losing his iconic hair at WrestleMania.
Yeah, I think that was like the irony.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. By the way, the rest of Maryland's schedule, there's 2 upset specials.
Donald Trump's favorite team, Maryland.
Ohio State next week, Michigan State the week after.
I reckon they'll do them.
Indiana the next week.
Yeah, they'll beat
Michigan, and then Rutgers.
Michigan's the one. I really hope they pick Michigan as favourites for that because that's when I will return with the upset special.
No, one that I'm looking at.
£50 down on that one.
The one I'm looking at is Maryland and Indiana. I think that's going to be a good game. Penix Jr. against Tagovailoa.
Yeah. I love Maryland, man. Fantastic.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Maryland, and I'm glad that they beat.
Where's my Maryland jersey? Come on, I've plugged you on this podcast, Maryland. Send me a jersey.
That's good.
Can we get Boise State to send me a jersey?
That would be fantastic.
So dearly.
We're going to tag the Broncos. We're going to tag to
I love a Boise State, bro. And their jerseys are sick as well. That fucking dark. I was like, whoa, they look like assassins. And then they got assassinated ultimately. But it's not the point.
I'm definitely tagging North Dakota or North Dakota. Jesus Christ, Notre Dame.
The Deep Blue.
Notre Dame and Clemson, we're going to get jerseys from them all.
How can you not like a team that plays? Look at that field. Look at that field behind me. How can you not like a team that plays on that? That's fucking sick.
We're also going to we're gonna tag in Coastal Carolina because you know what? They're huge. Fucking huge.
I want a Chanticleers jersey and I want a Boise State Broncos jersey.
Yes.
And a Maryland jersey as well because I love Terrapins and love Maryland.
Yes.
Tua on the back of mine. 2-2.
Tua-Leah?
Is it Tua and then Tua-Leah?
Yeah, Tua and Tua-Leah.
Okay, so can we just call him Tua-2?
Sure.
Or
Taulia. Taulia. T-A-U-L-I-A.
He's going to come for his brother, isn't he? He's going to come for his brother. He's going to rock up in the NFL. I can fucking guarantee it. It's written in the stars. He'll end up at a different team and they'll play each other.
Fuck yeah.
Guarantee. And it's going to be all kinds of crazy good. Good shit. Be better than a hardball, that's for sure.
Right.
Next Jim, how's it going over there at Michigan, buddy? How's it going, buddy?
Dude, I'm sorry. Jim Harbaugh's on his last leg.
Oh, didn't I? Get rid of him. Has to be gone. He's only there because he's a celebrity. They are fucking shit.
I'm so serious. If they don't get rid of him,
it's got to be something to do with money. I reckon there's too much guaranteed money there, and they feel like if they get rid of him, they'll lose out on an investment. It's crazy.
It's got to be something.
Love to know what actual Michigan fans think of him. Love to.
I know a few of them, and they want him out. They've wanted him out since he can't beat Ohio State.
That being said, I bet Donald Trump probably loves him.
Donald Trump is the coach of the
University of Michigan. I spoke to Jim Harbaugh on the phone yesterday, and I wanted to express my gratitude because even though he loses every game, all of his points are legal, okay? That's what's important here. What you have to understand, Joe Biden, right? Joe Biden made sure that all the points scored against Michigan were illegal. Those were all postal touchdowns. Postal touchdowns don't count. They were illegal. Thank you. Have you seen my daughter, by the way? She's so hot. So hot. If I wasn't married to my smoking hot immigrant wife, even though I hate immigrants, I would totally bang my daughter. Yep, it's a really good time.
Oh, Jesus. The next game we had was Minnesota dumping Illinois 41-14 to get their first win of the season. Good for the Gophers.
Yeah, go Gophers.
They're rowing the boat now in Minnesota because that's their thing is they row the boat. I don't know. I don't get it. They're Golden Gophers, but yet
No
they're
idea,
wearing
but Brock
white.
Lesnar's from Minnesota, so I'm not going to upset him too much because I
Yeah,
want to
that's
get
true.
praised.
Show us Shelton Benjamin, and I wouldn't want to fuck with either of those guys.
I'd take, yeah. I mean, Benjamin's good, but he's just a scrub now, isn't he?
Yeah, that's true. The
He's
next
taking
game,
with Cedric Alexander now.
oof.
Mm.
The next we had was Mississippi State beating Vanderbilt 24-17.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I picked Vandy to win this one, didn't I? Or did I pick Michigan State or Mississippi State?
I don't know, mate. At
I
this
don't
point, I've
remember.
tuned out. I don't have
Yeah.
anything left, I'm afraid, ladies and gentlemen. Like a proper Ron Jeremy. For the first hour of it, you got the best out of me. And now I'm like, I got nothing now. I got nothing but shitty jokes and Donald Trump impressions left. You got all the analysis possible out of me.
TCU beat Texas Tech 34-18. I know we called that one.
Mm-hmm.
I said the Red Raiders were going to win. I lost that.
Yes, and I made quite a few jokes at the expense of the Red Raiders and periods. So,
and you made quite a few jokes about the Horned
just like
Frogs.
to say that Ivanka has one of the biggest Red Raiders I've ever seen. It's huge. Seriously, it never stops flowing. It's incredible. I swear she's been on Red Raider for years now. The last time I got inside there, I'm pretty sure that the Denver Broncos were winning back-to-back Super Bowls.
God. Yeah. We also have Fresno State beating UNLV 40-27. Florida Atlantic knocking off Western Kentucky 10-6. That was a game.
Who's going to be in the Fiesta Cheeto Tostito Bowl?
That'll get made up in the playoff.
It's got to be a Mexican team, surely.
No, it can't.
What about the Los Lobos Outlaws? How are they doing?
No Los Lobos Outlaws.
No, well, there should be. Fucking let the Mexicans play. Don't be so selfish, Jeremy. You Americans think you can just hog all the college football to yourself. Well, maybe the Toronto Tanks would like to play. Maybe the Los Lobos Labias would like to play. You don't give these teams an opportunity because you just hog it for yourself. It's all right for the East Coast cock bandit Chanticleers, but fucking, like I say, the Los Lobos Labias, they want to play. The Toronto Tanks would like to play. The Ottawa Oreos, they'd like to play. What about the Greenland Gooches? None of these teams get to play. It's bullshit. What it is systematic racism. That's what it is. These college football teams want it all to themselves. These Americans, they think they're superior to everybody else. You wait, mate. The London Labias will be there next year. We're coming. We're bringing our full. We're going to have Oxford's going to be there. Cambridge, mate. Let's see how you do in a boat race. Yeah.
Other games that went on. Colorado ended up beating UCLA 48-42.
Thank you.
No, you called UCLA to win.
No, I fucking didn't. I picked Colorado. I even watched it back and checked it, you cretin. Go back and watch it, mate. Colorado. Because I'd pick against the state that houses my favorite team ever, wouldn't I? Come on.
I swore you said UCLA.
Go back and watch it, mate. You're just bitter because you had the others.
Yeah, I think I did.
Yeah, of course you did.
And then
mate. Deal with it.
Arkansas beat Tennessee 24-13.
Is that an upset? I don't know.
Not really. Let's see.
Don't Arkansas have to play Alabama? So?
Yes, at the end of the year.
Their last regular season go.
Yep. Which Alabama will.
I'm retaining knowledge slowly but surely.
Alabama
Get on with it, mate. I'm fucking knackered. There can't be any big games left, surely.
There are two games going on right now. Washington State, the Fighting Gardner Minshews, are beating the Oregon State Beavers 31-14. They're
Gardeners and the Beavers. I told you this was going to be the clash of the century, mate. I told you, Plants vs. Zombies is one thing. Gardeners versus Beavers is quite another matter. You will take the Gardeners seriously.
I will
Beavers have been running amok. What did I say? Hot damn, that's going to be a hell of a game.
I will say that one of Washington State's big guys.
The Gardeners are the kind of team that grow on you, to be fair.
One of Washington State's big names last name is Ward. So Ward's beating the Beaver. Leave it to Beaver joke.
Mm-hmm. I'm fully aware.
Okay.
Hold on. We made all the dad jokes last week. You're too late now.
Fuck. And then New Mexico Lobos
Orale!
are losing to the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors 28-27 in the fourth quarter.
Really wanted to watch that. Somebody said on the street, I was watching the Notre Dame thing, and then there's some Larry little shitbag in the YouTube comments, and he wouldn't shut up, and he kept saying like, "Dude, Hawaii's on next. Dude, Hawaii versus New Mexico." And I thought, do you know what? Fuck it, I'll watch it. Fuck it. I can't find a stream. Cannot find it. Shame. I would have loved to have watched that. The Rainbows. Come on.
The Rainbow Warriors. Yeah.
You'd expect Hawaii to be fucking. Hawaii, was it? Is it Hawaii versus New Mexico? You expect Hawaii to be good with all them whopping great Polynesian boys, wouldn't you? You expect them to be fucking humongous.
Yeah, they do.
Get the Uzos in there. They'll fucking do a job for you. Should have Roman Reigns at quarterback.
Yeah. But that's essentially...
Oh, essentially. He only brings what is absolutely necessary to the game.
Indeed.
Why are you wearing a Chelsea hat, by the way? It's just like, come on. It's college football.
Because I don't know.
You look like a rapist wearing that hat on, mate.
I don't know where my Alabama hat is right now.
Also, can you please wash that hat? Every week, I swear that thing's getting dirtier. What are you doing with it? You wearing it down a local factory or something? Is that like your cum rag or some shit? Like,
no.
Wash it, for fuck's sake. You look like a tramp.
Fuck off.
That's coming from me. I'm sitting here in a fucking sleeveless Broncos jersey, but at least my shit is fresh, bro. I washed my stuff once on the blue moon. That hat looks awful. You can tell that hat was given to you by some English twat about 50 years ago. So it was, here we go, Jeremy. Here's our favourite team's hat. And you're like, I shall treasure it forever and I'll never wash it, father. And he hasn't. He hasn't fucking washed it. He's like the Oliver Twist of Chelsea over there. I suppose I can't wait till we do the Premier League review. I can't wait to hear about how amazing Chelsea were knocking off the mighty Sheffield United.
Thiago Silva, baby.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. I look forward to him scoring a plethora of goals.
No, I was just... They were posting the top 5 that predicted for the...
Let's hear it.
The top 5 for the playoff right now. And right now, I don't get it, but... Joey Galloway from ESPN says it's going to be Alabama 1, Clemson 2, or Ohio State 2, Notre Dame 3, Clemson 4, and Cincinnati 5. How does Notre Dame go from 4 to just 3? They knocked off
Notre Dame right now should be number 1 in my book. You just beat the number 1 seed.
And then Jesse Palmer from ESPN says Alabama, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Clemson, Texas A&M.
Someone's a homer. Fucking Texas A&M, please.
I agree with Alabama because they've beaten
I bet he's that fucking. I remember him. He fucking said that Johnny Manziel would light up the NFL. The fucking penis. Well, he certainly lit it up. Here we go. Fucking mongrel.
But
come back when you got a $10 note and a line of Coke, mate, because that's all Johnny Manziel was fucking good for, the penis burger. Can't believe he's so popular. Can't believe he still makes shit tons of money just off of his internet popularity. It's embarrassing.
Oh shit! New Mexico is beating Hawaii now, 30-28.
Yes, Lobos Lebia.
Oh Jesus!
We're celebrating Day of the Dead, baby.
As for the top,
New Mexico.
As for the top 5. My top 5 would be Alabama, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Clemson, and Cincinnati. Joey Galloway kind of had it right, except for he had Notre Dame and Ohio State. Yeah, Notre Dame just beat the number 1 team in the country.
Does 1 play 4 and 2 play 3?
It would be, 1 plays 4 and 2 plays 3.
I don't have Notre Dame at number 1 right now. That would obviously depend on how Alabama do for the rest of the season. But Alabama don't have a win as big as Notre Dame do.
The biggest game that Alabama's played was against they were number 2 and Georgia was number 3.
Yeah, and now look at Georgia though. They're just sliding and sliding and sliding.
Right. And then they played Texas A&M.
So by that merit, some people were probably going to say that Georgia, if they had won today. What about the Gators? Do we not like the look of the Gators?
We don't play the Gators this season. We might.
No, I mean as in getting them into the rankings. Do we not see them as a breach?
That's a possibility.
Because I reckon they could beat Cincinnati.
I think they would maybe be a 6.
I think they can beat out Cincinnati. I do.
Oh yeah, I think they could beat
They
out.
played each other. Wouldn't surprise me if they played each other in a bowl game. Actually,
Yeah, that wouldn't shock me. The way it goes is one.
are we not even going to consider Maryland at this point?
No. Unfortunately,
Stick them
Maryland.
in at number 7 or 8 or something. They best get a decent bowl game, or I'm going to be furious. They best be playing for the Tostito, Cheeto, Cheddar's, Kellogg's Bowl or whatever it is, the cereal bowl.
That's right. We were going to have a whole nother podcast about all the bowl games. And
I'm looking forward to that. I cannot wait.
We can do that.
I'm going to make you dig out every bowl that's ever been named in the history of football, and then I am going to dissect all of them in a Donald Trump accent.
I can pull that up.
No, we're not doing it now.
Not now, but we can do it after this.
Cool. Anything else?
Yeah, no. If you like this, please leave a like, a subscribe, a comment. Follow us on Twitter at Sly Fox Sports Pod. Follow Mr.
Yeah, I was live tweeting today. Plenty of content on that.
Follow Mr. Nix, Aaron Nix Design on Twitter.
Don't
if you want to follow me, JMiller911419 on Twitter.
You don't tweet anything. All you do is retweet WrestlePlug and then retweet whatever.
I tweet every now and then.
I tweet more on this. It's his podcast, right? Believe it or not. I know I'm the one who looks more professional and ultimately isn't a Chelsea rent boy. But when it comes down to it, it's his podcast. Exactly. It's his podcast. And yet, I'm the one who's on the fucking Twitter. I'm the one changing all the guests. Like, what the fuck's going on here? I reckon he's taking me for a ride. He don't even give me a weekly wage, ladies and gentlemen. He paid me for the graphics. And after that, he was like, yeah, we'll just have him.
We've already talked about that weekly.
Yeah, we'll have him on a retainer, shall we? Yeah. Do you know what it is? Slave labour at this point. I'm getting Donald Trump, mate. That's what's happening here. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to get that Egyptian. He's going to do some great graphics for us. We're going to pay him originally. And then how it's going to work is we're going to give him 5 cents for every 65 hours that he works, because that's how much I paid people in my cabinet, so that's how much he should be getting. Ultimately, he's Egyptian. He should be thankful that he's even alive at this point.
Oh my God, no.
But yeah, follow us on Twitter and all that social media. You can follow me at Aaron Nix Design, but if you're an uber leftist prick, you won't like that, because I'm not a big fan of liberals and I'm not a big fan of right-wingers either. Just basically, let's put it this way, right? I hate everybody, and that includes you. You right now looking at the screen, enjoying this podcast, thinking you're having a good time, I particularly hate you. I hope that you end up standing on a Lego brick. That's what I hope. Fuck yous. Fuck all of you.
What the fuck?
Unless you're a Boise State Broncos fan, in which case, hugs, man. Bring it in. It's been a rough weekend, but we shall rebound. We are masterful at that, and ultimately, we get to play on a fancy blue and orange pitch. All them other scrubs, they got to play on green, mate. That's boring. We're ahead of the curve. Blue and orange. Love you, Boise State. Love you. Love you a long time. Also, Maryland. Shout out to my Terrapins. Got to show some love for them. Brilliant. Oh, and NC State and the Wolfpack. Rest in peace, Tuffy too. God bless you, gorgeous little soul.
Yep. All right, folks.
Can we get some cheerleaders? Can we have our own cheerleaders? Sly Fox broadcasting. Sly Fox broadcasting. That'd be great. Get Jules to do it. Just get a massive.
I was going to say maybe my wife could do it.
She could just spread herself eagle and pop out a few fucking ping pong balls. That'd be great. Is that offensive? I think that's offensive.
I'm done.